Welcome to Learning Dorico. I'm composer and music educator Dr. Scott Watson. In this video tutorial series, I'll be sharing how to use the popular professional music notation program Dorico. We'll be starting from square one, so if you're a beginner, this is the series for you. All examples will be shown using a Macintosh operating system, using Macintosh shortcuts. So if you're a Windows user, be sure to download Steinberg's helpful quick guide that has Windows keyboard equivalents. This episode just gives you a feel for Dorico, so be sure to check out episode 2, where I do a much more thorough introduction to the graphic user interface and how Dorico works. All right, right now you're looking at setup mode, and that's the first thing I wanted to share, is that there are 5 modes in Dorico: setup, write, engrave, play, and print. And I'm toggling between each of these using keyboard shortcuts. Command 1 is setup, Command 2 is write, Command 3 engrave, Command 4 is play, and Command 5 is print. Now, it turns out that you're not going to use setup a whole lot. You'll use that to get your project started. You'll mostly be working in the write mode, putting notes in, and then you'll be doing some layout and formatting in engrave mode. That's where you're going to spend most of your time, is write mode and then engrave mode on the back end. Also, since Dorico automatically formats and lays out your project, you won't want to do a lot of formatting and layout decisions in engrave mode until after you've put on all your notes and other score elements. If you like digital audio workstations, well, you're going to love play mode, because that's kind of what that is. Inside of Dorico, we have this sort of DAW view. And then print mode is the final stage, whether you're going to print out to a printer or to PDF or maybe some graphic format like PNG. The folks who designed Dorico arranged these modes deliberately to mirror your workflow. For instance, you'll start in setup mode, then you'll move to write mode and enter your notes. Then you'll move to engrave mode to take care of formatting and layout. You might want to move to play mode just to sonically proof your piece and see if it sounds right. And then usually the end stage is that you're printing out your music in print mode. Back in setup mode, I want to point out that there is a thing called flows, and if I close this panel, you don't see it, but when it's open, you'll see flow in Dorico is like movement in a multi-movement classical work. So most pieces that are only one movement, you don't really need to worry about flows, and you can kind of hide the flows, and we'll show you how to do that. It's only when you have movement 1 and movement 2 and movement 3, etc., that you want to have flow 1, flow 2, flow 3. All of those movements will be part of the same Dorico document. Also, don't worry about putting in your title here in write mode. That you will put in the project info screen, where you'll type in the title. So let's just say I type in a nonsense word like foo in all caps and composer SW, Scott Watson, and apply. You'll notice that foo and SW appear here. So you don't put the title in write mode. Many other things you will enter in write mode: the notes, the key, the meter, the tempo, the number of bars, all of that's done in write mode. These areas on the side and bottom are called panels, and the panels have things like icons for rhythm values, although there are keyboard shortcuts that you can use to toggle different rhythms, and things like articulations. Then over here, there are panels for all sorts of great stuff, let's say bars and bar lines, or repeat structures, putting in first and second endings and things like that, and especially performance techniques. These panels, though, you'll largely not have to use once you memorize what are called popovers. So for instance, let me go into my first measure in write mode and do the popover Shift M to put in the meter, and I'll put in 4/4 meter, and there it is, 4/4. Now I could have done that over here, right? I could have entered the meter using the panels, but I used a popover instead. Panels versus popovers. Popovers are a lot quicker, and we're going to show you the most common popovers. I just showed you one. That was the time signature, or meter, as Dorico calls it. But let me show you another one. How about key? That's Shift K. And then I put in, let's say it's going to be in D major, capital D, or D minor, lowercase d. Don't worry about all these popover shortcuts. We'll introduce many of them in our first episode. All right, so we talked about modes, and we talked about panels, and we talked about popovers. Another thing that's really helpful to learn about are the different options: engraving options, layout options, notation options, note input options, and playback options. So why use the options? Well, when Dorico isn't doing something like you want it to do, usually it's because there's a default option that's already set and you just need to change it. Let me give you an example. Let's say I use the popover Shift Q for chords and I put in the chord D minor. but I would rather have it appear as DMIN. That's an engraver option. The shortcut is Shift-Command-E for engraver options. Then I'll go under chords, chord symbols, and I'll just scroll down until I find the spot that I can choose instead of FM, FMIN, apply that, go back, and now we see D minor. There are dozens, probably hundreds of different options that you can choose. The ones I use the most, to be honest with you, are engraving options and layout options. But every once in a while, you'll use some of these other options. So you're going to end up memorizing these keyboard shortcuts, Shift-Command-E for engraving options, Shift-Command-L for layout options, and so forth. Last thing I want to mention in this overview is that there are two views that you can use, page view and galley view. Galley view is like a long scroll. So for instance, let me use the Popover Shift B, and I'm going to add 20 measures of music. Now you see it like a long left to right scrolling of those 20 measures. However, if I go back to page view, let me zoom out, you'll see it more like it would appear on a page. A lot of times you can just stay in page view and you'll sort of see approximately what it will look like when you get done. Whereas galley view allows you just to concentrate on putting in notes and not worrying about formatting or being distracted by formatting, which you're going to do near the end of your project anyway. So what is Dorico? It's a professional level music notation app. Because it's professional, it can do a whole lot, which means it does have sort of a steep learning curve. But with a little bit of help, we can help you get started with some really useful entry-level tasks that don't take a lot of time. I think what makes it unique is this graphic user interface. The different modes, setup, write, engrave, play, and print, in which you work while you're creating a score. The different panels that you use to find the various tools and features that you want to use, but also the popover shortcuts that you use when you want to save time and put in something like the tempo. And the options you use, such as hiding the staff labels, or dozens of other user preferences, and the two views, page view and galley view. To be honest, I've been using another professional music notation app for more than 3 decades. I'm very good at it, but now I'm learning Dorico, and I'm excited that you'll be learning Dorico with me too. I'll see you in the next episode.